Good morning. I hope you all are doing well and had a great evening, and I hope you did well on the homework assignment that we had the other night. So today we're going to go ahead and move on and teach you how to now take everything that we've learned and use it to graph the quadratic equation or the quadratic function. So just like all the other things, we first got to start out by knowing our A, B, C's, quadratics, and B. So we go ahead and write down our A value, our B value, and our C value. So our A value is -1. Our B value is 4, and our C value is -5. So first thing we have to do is go find that vertex. Remember, to find the vertex, we have to know our x value, which is equal to -b divided by twice a. So we take our -b value, so negative, then our b value is 4, 2 times our a value, which is -1. So now we've got -1 times 4, which makes -4, and then 2 times -1, which makes -2, and -4 divided by -2 makes a +2. So now we have the x coordinate of our vertex. So now we're going to go find the y value. By substituting everywhere in here we see an x, we're going to put in +2. Make sure we use parentheses. Notice that this negative right here is on the outside, so it's going to stay on the outside of our parentheses when we put in our data. So that represents our x being squares, which is 2, plus 4, and then our x, which is 2, and then minus 5. When we put that into our calculator, you should get -1. So now we have our vertex. So go ahead and take a moment, put these in and make sure you're getting them. Your teacher can pause the video for you to double check and make sure you're getting those answers. So when we do, what we have now discovered is we now found our vertex. So our vertex is at 2, -1. Last week we learned how to find our axis of symmetry. Remember, we called it our AOS. And it was always x equals, and it's the x value of our vertex. So it's x equals 2. The next thing we have to know is our y-intercept, and we learned that last week. So our y-intercept is always the c value. So it's always written 0 and then whatever c happens to be. Our c value is -5. So our y-intercept is at 0, -5. So remember that our axis of symmetry, let's go ahead and change this color real quick, is a vertical line. So this guy right here is a vertical line. And he's going to cut through the x-axis at 2. So we're going to go find 2 on our x-axis and make a vertical line that goes right there through it, our AOS. From here, we're now going to plot our y-intercept. We're going to go find that point on our y-axis. So your y-intercept is on your y-axis. So here's my y-axis. I'm going to go find -5, which is right here, and put a dot. To find now the next dot I'm going to plot is my vertex. Here is my vertex. It should land on this dotted line here. It should be on our axis of symmetry. So I'm going to go to the right 2 and down 1. There's 2, -1. So now I have my vertex here, my vertex. I have my y-intercept right here. To find the next point, we're going to mirror, mirror on the wall, prettiest parabola of them all. So from -5 to this x-axis of symmetry, we got to go over basically 1, 2 spaces. This is 1 space, this is 2 spaces. So we got to mirror that, 1 space, 2 space, and put another dot. So now we have mirrored or reflected it across. So then we can now create our parabola that will go right through there. So that's how we create our parabolas. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to try doing the next one over here, problem number 2. I'm going to switch out our colors for us real fast. All right, so again, to start off everything, we have to know our A, D, C, quadratic. So A, B, and C. So our A value is -1, our B value is -2, and our C value is -5. So we're going to first by going to find the x coordinate of our vertex. So x again is at -b over twice a. So negative, and then our b value, which is negative 2, over 2 times our a value, which is negative 1. So now we've got negative, negative 2, which makes a positive 2. And 2 times negative 1 makes negative 2. And 2 divided by negative 2 makes negative 1. So we're going to substitute that in. Again, we want to make sure that we don't discount that negative starting us off there. So there's our negative. Then we have our first set of parentheses for our x being squared. So our negative 1 will drop in there. So notice the negative is on the outside. So don't forget to put that away in your calculator. Otherwise, your answer will be wrong. Minus 2 times our x value, which is negative 1. And then minus 5. So when we put this in our calculator, we should get a negative 4. All of your answers on your vertexes will be whole numbers. There'll be no decimals and no fractions. So if you get a decimal or a fraction, you have done something wrong. And everything will fit perfectly on our graphs. If they don't, you have done something wrong. So our vertex is equal to our x value, which is negative 1, followed by our y value, which is negative 4. Remember, our axis of symmetry is always x equals, and it's the x coordinate, which is negative 1. And our y-intercept is always 0, and then the c value, so our c value here is negative 5. I'm going to change our color real fast so we can graph. So we're going to go ahead and graph our axis of symmetry first. We're going to graph this guy first by making a vertical line through negative 1. So we're going to negative 1 on the x-axis and make a vertical line. My vertex should be on that line. So I'll plot that point, negative 1, negative 4. Should be on my dotted line. Then I'm going to place my y-intercept on my graph. So 0, negative 5. And then I will mirror on the wall. This is one space, so one space, prettiest parabola of them all. And then I have my parabola. Notice that our a values in the first two problems were negative. And because our a values in the first two problems were negative, our parabolas are now opening down. And that should be consistent in our graph, which means we have those maximum values that we talked about yesterday. All right, we're going to go ahead and try a couple more problems. Go ahead and clear out our screen real quick. So if your teacher needs to pause this, say pause please, so you can get all the good information you need. Move this down. We're going to go ahead and do problem number 3 and 4. Make my ski guy because you don't like the ski. Let's see if we can get a prettier color. Let's try a aqua blue. Woo. Okay, here we go. So remember, to do this, we have to first start off by knowing our ABCs, quadratics, and me. All right, so we're going to know our ABCs. So A is negative 2, B is positive 8, and C is negative 9. So we got to first know our x value, which is negative b, divided by twice a. So negative, and our b value is positive 8, over 2 times our a value, which is a negative 2. So we got a negative 8 on top, making it just negative 8. And on the bottom, 2 times negative 2 makes negative 4. Negative 8 divided by negative 4 is a positive 2. So now we have our x value. So we want to substitute in to find our y value. So we got our negative. Remember, he's got to stay out front, so negative. And then we have our 2. We don't want to forget him. Then our x, which is 2, and that's being squared, plus 8 times our x value, which is 2, and then minus 9. So we put this into our calculator. You should be getting negative 1. So again, double check, make sure you're getting this. If you want the teacher to pause this before you get to these answers, that is fantastic. So now my vertex, I now know my vertex. It's my x value, which is 2, my y value, which is negative 1. Remember, my axis of symmetry is always x equals, and it's whatever the x value is, which is 2. Our y-intercept is always 0, and then the c value, and my c value was negative 9. So we're going to go ahead and plot our axis of symmetry first. So I'm going to go to 2 on the x-axis and make my dot line. That's my AOS. I will now plot my vertex on that line. So 2 -1. I will next plot my y-intercept, -9, way down here on the y-axis. This is 2 spaces over, so mirror, mirror on the wall, prettiest parabola of them all. And then I'll come up and make my graph. You notice this graph is skinnier, where we talked about stretching and compressing. So because this value 2 is bigger than 1, we have a stretch. And because we have this negative, our graph opens down. So then use all that knowledge that we've been talking about. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to try another one. Let's try orange this time, maybe. All right. So again, to get started, we're going to know where A, B, C, quadratic mean. All right, so our A value is 1. Our B value is -2. And our C value is -1. So we've got X is equal to -B divided by twice A. So we got negative, and then our B value, -2, over 2 times our A value, which is 1. -2 makes a +2, and 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So now we know our X value. So we're going to substitute it into our equation to find our Y value. So Y is equal to our X value 1 squared minus 2 times our X value of 1, and then -1. We put this into our calculator. We should come up with -2. So now we know our vertex. So our vertex is at, say it out nice and loud, fantastic, 1, -2, beautiful, beautiful. What do we find next? That is awesome sauce. We got to find that AOS. And what does our AOS always start with? That's right, X equals, and then our X value happens to be what? Awesome, number 1, I got some crispy bacon going on in there. So then I got to find my y-intercept. Who remembers what that is? Beautiful, beautiful. It is 0, -1. Way to remember that it's 0 and our C value. I love it. You guys are such smarties. All right, so now we're going to graph what first? That's right, we need our axis of symmetry. So I'm going to change the color here. So I'm going to go to 1 on the x-axis and make my dotted line. Dotty. I'm going to next plot my vertex right here. 1, -2, so 1, -2. Then I will finally plot my y-intercept, which is at 0, -1. Then we will mirror, mirror on the wall, prettiest parabola of them all, and make our graph. And as you can see here, our A value was positive this time. So therefore, our parabola opened up and gave us a minimum value. Fantastic. So tonight for homework, you're going to try to do 8 problems by yourself. And then you'll go over them tomorrow with your teacher and the answers. So hope you guys understood everything. Pause, freeze, frame, do whatever you got to do. Have a good night. Love you.